This conference will now be recorded.
And all right. So I wanted to do three things today. One is once DJ joins, we'll discuss the. Oh, DJ's here. All right, he's on his way. The Bow funding proposal. The second thing is I think we've come to a sort of a fork in the road as far as the link layer effort is concerned, and we need some need an assist from the group at large. And the third is I want to sort of nail down the agenda for, or at least put a pencil in some names and panels and who's going to do what on the agenda for the global summit. Those are the three items on my wish list. And I feel reasonably optimistic that, we can get through it in about 25, 30 minutes. Anybody else have anything else? Okay, then that case, interrupt me whenever. DJ, I think maybe we should spend about 5 minutes on the funding proposal. Um, and our sort of wish from the group at large. And
Sure.
do you want me to go, or would you like to go?
I can go. That's and
Okay.
you can chime in if I miss something. You can chime in. So
Sure.
this is, as many of you or we have shared this in past. This is board test chip funding proposal, which we are putting together for all the companies to review. And essentially, we need to make this a community effort. The more the companies are involved in this effort, the more likelihood of everything going according to everyone's expectation. This is a OCP community effort, and we want to make this a first open standard die-to-die interface, which is actually the number one charter of open domain-specific architecture, if you have seen the slides in past. So this is a big step forward to achieve that first step of the charter. Overall, this helps community in multiple ways. We getting every company involved make the ecosystem that much more stronger rather than one or two companies dominating or contributing to all of the funding. Then it gets skewed. So use this funding proposal. I think by early next week, we'll probably release this for everyone to take it to their management. It should answer most of the questions in terms of what internally companies would ask you. Why are we doing this? What's the benefit we are getting? Who are the other companies involved? How much money is involved? What is the schedule? What am I going to get out of it? All the answers are in this proposal to the best of our ability. So please review it once released and share the feedback back to us, either to myself or Bapi. We have already started socializing this among the end users. So all of the end users have taken this document to their management, and that end users include Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and Alibaba. There are three tiers of funding which we have proposed here, and that's where the section 7 is, which is ask and funding. So there are three levels: gold, silver, and bronze, I believe. And the idea there is that each company can contribute to the level they are interested. And there is a give column which tells you what we want the company to do, and there is a gets column which is where you will get something. So this is where the gold level, you get, you contribute 250K or 100K cash, 200K in kind, in terms of resources, etc. And in return, you get the two complete test boards. They are all described in the document exactly what these test boards are. Essentially, you have ability to test these chips in-house and characterize the link performance, even though we also are going to have ability to get this done in a community fashion using the test structure, which we'll put through this funding. But that's what the gold level gives. Silver level gives you access to workshops, access to buy two test boards at a steep discount, early access basically, not because there is a limited quantity. And then bronze level, Bapi, I think you might want to comment on the data plus uh, line, which is in the gets, in terms of what is it that these contributors would get. So do you want to comment on that, please?
Yeah. So the idea here is that we're going to publish a set of data for the community as a whole, and that you will, starting at the lowest level, you'll have access to more data progressively at each level of funding. And the second thing I want to say is, we're also looking for feedback on the gets. If anybody has any interesting ideas on the gets, we're certainly open. But the general idea here is that uh, there are three things we're focusing on. Thing number one is sort of more tangible and intangible returns for higher levels of participation. And the idea being intangible returns include at the gold level, you get a chance to confirm upfront that the IP being developed works for your use case. You have some insight into the design decisions being made. And at the bronze level is some sense of a full sort of thorough physical characterization of the implementation. Now, the other thing is, we're also looking at the funding in two buckets. Bucket number one is this idea of how do we subsidize a test chip? And bucket number two, one of the interesting things is I'm now aware that there are at least two and possibly three Bow test chip implementations that aren't going to be subsidized. So the second big bucket that we're trying to enable is a common test and validation infrastructure, so that if you build your own private test chip, you can still use the packaging design if you'd like to, or some version of it, and the validation. And if you want to, you can try for verify interoperability with public board test chips. Right. So,
Right.
The two big legs here are subsidizing test chips, and then subsidizing this idea of how do we create an infrastructure so that if somebody wants to make their own board test chip, they have an easy way to check whether it's interoperable, and to leverage and even if they don't want to check if it's interoperable, there's a whole bunch of infrastructure they can leverage.
Yeah, and this point is actually very important. Obviously, building of the test chip itself with package is important, but the other matter which is important for the community to address is, let's say somebody, we decide a 5 nanometer board test chip, right? And a company with one particular foundry, let's say foundry A, and another design company says, I'm going to do a 7 nanometer or 20 nanometer for some functionality, and I'm going to use Foundry B. And I want to validate how my Bow interface, which I have developed for my use cases, work with what is it in the community. This infrastructure provides you that ability to validate your Bow interfaces. So you can imagine, Bow interfaces, if they are successful, they will exist across many foundries, across many processes. And we need to have a very simple mechanism for people to quickly test out the functionality of what they develop, because not everybody is going to use the IP which is in one foundry with one specific process. And that's where the second part of the funding enables, which is a common infrastructure with a gold standard Bow interface, which is already embedded, and you bring in your part, and then you can validate and verify that everything is working. So, Bobby, I believe we will have this released to the community sometime next week. I think we should start getting feedback from everyone. Obviously, the approach which we probably have to take is to use a shuttle run on one of the foundries, and these are not these are few and far in between. There was one in December 21, which I think the deadline might be anytime now. And if we miss that, then the next interception point for launching this board test chip would be, I believe, February or April. We are in process of getting a timeline, final timeline table into this document as well from some of the companies who are doing the design, because the timeline includes design, tape out, chiplet back, packaging, and then test and validation. So all of that will be captured as well. And we really encourage every one of you to use this opportunity to motivate your company in some form or shape, because this is going to be an industry defining activity and you want to be part of it. You want to proclaim for all your sales and marketing purposes that you are one of the seminal companies which contributed. We can provide collateral and all of that, something which also is under the guest column for companies to leverage and proclaim, their, thought leadership, as well as the fact that they are ahead of the curve in terms of making this happen. So with that, Bapi, I give it back to you. Are there any questions, immediate questions from anyone?
Yeah, I have one question. You said in December tape out, which process technology node it is?
I believe this is TSMC 5 nanometer technology, which is what has been the target process we are looking at.
Thank you.
Sure.
So our ask of the people on this call and the minutes is to circulate this inside your companies. And then to please give us your feedback on whatever you see, and maybe serve as a champion be a champion for this inside your company.
And one other thing which we have done is we also are making ourselves available, myself and Bapi as well, in case somebody in your company wants to talk to us, or you have questions from your execs which you want us to help you answer. Please do not hesitate to leverage our support. We have already done this for a couple of companies where they came back, and we have done this for the other end users as well. So please take full advantage of all the resources you have to enable these conversations within your organizations. As you can see, the gives are not very big in grand scheme of things, but if you imagine we enable the ecosystem, and this is the only way to enable the ecosystem. If your company says, well, I can go and do this on my own and I don't need anybody, absolutely you can do it. You will have full control of what you develop. You will have no control of others following you or getting any kind of ecosystem developed. So the choice is every company's. Do you want to create an open ecosystem, or try to create a proprietary one which we already know exists, well, which within NVIDIA and AMD and Intel and others. So this is just an optionality. This is not like either or situation. We are just trying to create options in the industry, and all of them will coexist. So please try to explain this vision to folks who may not be very close to ODSA effort, and don't hesitate to reach out to me if there's any way I can double click and amplify this message on your behalf within your organization. Thank you.
So I had a question, maybe a little naive. How does the in-kind get measured? Is there a plan or a scope document written up which amounts to, you've got a cash equivalent for that, right? So is that per,
Yeah, so it's a reasonable question. The thinking in our heads is that you've been participating in the boat test chip. The idea is that we're going to sort of write down or develop a timeline for this is what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Say, for example, like we have this new idea of building a simulation model for compliance, or we've got the packet. We've got various activities in laying out in going from where we are to a completed test chip that's verified and tested, right? And at some point, I think we're going to rely on the collective wisdom of the group to sort of pen a budget number to those. And if somebody steps up and says, I can take care of that in-house for you, that's how we're thinking. I'm thinking of valuing the in-kind contributions.
Okay, no, fair enough. It's a little bit hard to measure exactly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But the idea is that somebody is willing to. So the way it's worked in the POC, maybe I don't know if JP is on. I don't see him. So the way it's worked in the POC is companies have stepped up and taken care of entire sort of deliverables. Somebody said, I'm going to do the assembly for the interposer boards, or I'm
Sure.
going to do or Tamand has stepped up in a big way and said we're going to do bring up, and we're going to own the program management of the manufacturing. So okay, if somebody can step up and take care of an entire function for the community and make the results available, then we sort of say, okay, as a group, we'll have to sort of say, okay, roughly in the planning phase, we allocate some dollars to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Those are very significant contributions. They take care of a complete piece of it, right? It's a nice little checkbox, so it's
Exactly.
easier to measure. Got it. Thanks, Bob.
Exactly. That somebody's going to take ownership of driving it. That's a huge relief.
Right. Got it.
Any other
Maybe
questions?
Go ahead, Bill, please.
I think somewhere in this document a little bit earlier, you have the list of the item of the work. Is that right? Let me see.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll check with you later because I think it's important for us to know what the income means.
Yep. And that's sort of next on our board test chip agenda there's been next on the list to break it down into very specific in-kind activities.
And I think we can have others capture it in the document as well. So we cannot expect one or small group of people to have complete understanding of all aspects of funding. So please contribute into the document as well. I think you'll have ability to edit the document. So if you think your company has some in-kind activities, please capture it in some kind of a table. Take initiative to create a section saying in-kind activities, possible in-kind activities, and then just put activity and a dollar amount against it, and it can be self-reported.
And Javi just joined, and he's sort of a standing example of the in-kind contribution. He drove the creation of the first draft of the channel models for the boat test chip. So something along those lines where your company does the hard labor, or you're willing to step up and say, hey, I'll make sure it gets done. So as an specific example.
Yeah, and in fact, that's a very big contribution because defining a specific channel, physical, and then companies able to simulate it to ensure that design companies can use that model to ensure that their design closes that channel becomes a very important part. So, thanks, Javi, for putting that section in the document.
Yeah, well, so I just being the ringleader, there was a lot of work done by others, particularly Dan from Alpha Wave on that.
Exactly.
Actually executing it.
I was going to say that Dan and Alpha Wave had really put in a lot of simulation effort, and they're on the hook for they're on the hook for the package effort in the boat test chip as well. Any other questions or any other thoughts, feedback, more than questions? Javi, you've seen this. The intent is to release it to the larger community. I think one of the things we're seeing is this is an ask from the end users to sort of go off and assemble more community funding as well. I think it makes sense that if we have a broader, diverse group of companies funding this, it directly contributes to the a greater likelihood of building a strong community around this.
Now, so is the ask of the community now to see if there's anything else that needs to be added to this, or are we at the point now where we're asking companies to present it internally to their own teams?
The latter.
The latter. Okay.
So the ask now is, I think we're getting to the point where we'll release the document. Obviously, if there are any edits, we would be more than happy to change it. But and also to basically for everybody on the call to take it back to their organizations, serve as an internal advocate and champion for this, and grow this effort internally. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Well, whoever said it would take 8:30 wouldn't happen was right. All right. So it's item 1. Item 2, I wanted to do a quick drive-by on the OCP summit. The one thing I do have is I think we'll definitely have a bow update, and we will certainly have a POC demo, given how it is. And I wanted to see whether anybody else had any items or thoughts on a panel lightning talks that you'd like to sign up for.
So, Bapi, I think from a business chiplet business work group, I think Anu, Mudassar, and Javi is thinking of bringing some kind of a cost model update, and we will discuss more in the next meeting. But I think that's what Anu, please chime in.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mudassir and Javier on this call, we are planning so that we're going to submit an abstract to you, Ravi, by the deadline, and
Okay.
we'll have
Oh, no, you
talk.
Anu, sorry. The deadline, the 31st is for an abstract to the OCP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not to Ravi. Sorry.
Yes. No. I probably owe something to Ravi earlier, so that's what we sort of talked about it, and I'm going to take a first crack at it, and three of us will clean it up and send something to Ravi, just so he knows what's going on before we get to the
Yeah.
deadline. Yeah.
And another one possibility, Bapi, is this known good die. From a testing standpoint, there could be an update on that from Roboto from Teradyne.
Okay, so we'd have to close this one way or the other by 7:31.
Oh yes, for sure.
Hey, Bobby, this is also a topic. I'm going to submit an abstract also on power delivery and power management for the chiplet worlds, if you like.
So both test chip it. I have a POC demo on JP and Co. Okay. Anybody else? We spoke of a panel. Yeah, so go ahead, please.
Bobby, you attended both of the 2 panel sessions at ECTC.
Yeah.
And particularly in the test panel, is there a way for me to help and for you to use these people to use the panelists to help you with this test question, known good die question? I mean, you have a known good die update.
Yeah. Okay. Panel.
I was just
In
thinking.
Fact, I was thinking both. I like the other panel too a lot. Both I like both panels a lot. The triplet panel, you were saying that.
I want to see how we can keep this panel effort alive, particularly to see how they can be part of the contribution to your effort here.
Okay. So
I think depending on Bapi, what we are trying to do, especially known good die update, I think definitely we can make it as a panel rather than a talk. And Bill, I can work with you on the chiplet panel from ECTC. The question is, what is the intent of, like, what are we trying to address? And then, yes, remember last year also we had a panel. So likewise, what is the intent for this? So known good die is a clear cut panel. I can see maybe we can have another one. But for chiplet panel, what is the intent, Bapi? Do you have any clarity?
Well, Honestly, the thing that surprised me with chiplet panel, Bill sent out this email that the number of people who watched the panel was twice the number of registrants at ECTC. I figured if it's that popular, you can first assemble it and then find out what's going to go happen. Then, the discussion was pretty good. It was a pretty wide-ranging. Uh, the other participants were incredibly knowledgeable.
So one place I was thinking, which we have not done in OCP ODSA, is a chiplet panel on especially technical challenges. Again, we have business workshop, and I can help in putting together that if that's something of interest to this community.
Okay, so let me put pencil these two in, and maybe over the next week. The abstract is, wait, today is what, the 9th? No.
Ninth.
Oh, it is. Okay. So we've got over the next week, by the 16th, we nail the shot.
I will
Okay.
send Bobby, I'll send you all the names and you can, and also the contact information. So that would be a good way to help you to do this.
Thank you
Excellent.
so much, Bill. Yeah, that will be great. But Bapi, do you think having a technical panel would be of interest to this community?
Yeah.
Especially technical challenges. We had a business workshop earlier in the year, but we
I
never
think
had.
so the only reason I'm sort of hemming and hawing is one of the interesting things that the chiplet panel did that I hadn't seen other panels do. There was a lot of decent discussion on the upside, on the fact that you could create these new different kinds of products, you could create these address these new different kinds of markets, especially accelerators. And so it would be kind of nice to have a panel looking at the upside of going to chiplets, not just the sort of, hey, here's the complexities involved, if you know what I mean.
So sure. So Bapi, maybe you and I will chat offline, and then maybe we can think the theme of the panel.
Yeah, but that's the one thing I remember that from the panel. Bill, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that kind of stuck in my head was people talking about how flexibility improved, business flexibility improved, product diversity improved when you went to this mode of doing business. Anybody else? Sahab, Quinn, Myron?
Nothing from my side.
So one possibility also, I want to just put it out. Again, we are still working through details. So there might be a talk on thermal modeling of different advanced packaging, including chiplets.
Okay. DJ, no end user panel?
I'm thinking about it. I I I think there should be a panel. Not I wouldn't call it an end user panel because that's too narrow in scope. There should be a panel which should discuss board test chip, how everything is coming together, why we did it this way, how is it going to benefit end users, funding, details about the chip, status. I think we could have a panel for that because, in my opinion, that's actually short term the most important initiative within ODSA. And to the extent we give, and companies contributing, they can also be on the panel talking about why they are participating, all of that. So that would be an interesting panel to have.
Okay, so I moved the board test chip up here into a panel rather than a talk.
Right. And talk is short, but panel, a lot of people can bring different perspectives. We already talked about two aspects, right? We talked about the chiplet and design, and we talked about testing infrastructure. All of that should be discussed in the panel so that people are aware of it, that there is a testing infrastructure available. Oh, interesting. If I develop my bow IP in 20 nanometer, I can go to OCP, leverage this testing infrastructure, test out my portion of the bow with the golden bow, etc. So I think that could be a very interesting panel. We can have few folks from end users, few folks from all different value chain providers, right? And the focus is how did we all come together, solve the problem of bringing this board test chip into reality, and why is it important for the community? All of that can be done in that one panel.
I think especially when we spoke about multi-chip, the very important question is that how do we in the design aspects in terms of the placement, the multi-chip you can placement in many different ways, and there will be different optimum way of doing it, and so that would be a really very important questions for us.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So, and Giri or Sri Ganesh, anything from NVIDIA, Michael, Samsung?
Nothing. This is Gary. So I haven't. There is an internal call. We'll bring up see what topic we present on the lightning talk, and I mean obviously we're open to participating in panel, but we'll also see if we can present something that's happening inside the company in a lightning talk.
Okay.
Bobby, these are basically on top of the other items that we talked, or I'm a little bit confused because we used to have the other list as well.
That's here. I'm making a spreadsheet so that I can track total time. It's right here. So we have something. I'm trying to sort of translate intent into a specific agenda and duration.
Okay.
So if you have like a, we've got like, we're coming to the point where I need somebody who's going to own setting up the panel or a talk, and we should be able to get an abstract in by the 31st.
Okay, good. Then you do have mine. I think I'm gonna do a panel on the optical chiplets.
Okay, right. Hey, this might be an interesting panel palooza. This will be great, man.
In your thermal modeling, how about adding thermal modeling and mechanical modeling for things like warpage? Thermal and warpage comes really quite close together.
Wait, who said it is Ravi, right? Okay.
So, Bill, the work which this is some, I think we are thinking of doing it a talk on thermal modeling specifically with some of the work which Facebook is doing, and maybe we'll partner with David. I don't know if David is on the call or not, but it does not include mechanical modeling at this time.
Well, after you've done the thermal modeling, then the question about temperature, assembly, warpage, really very important in that assembly portion.
No, Bill, I agree. They are very important. I'm saying from the scope standpoint, we are not planning to include mechanical modeling in the talk. I'm not saying it's not important.
Okay.
So again, Ravi, the question is, do you want to partner? I guess that's the thing Bill's throwing out.
Bill, if you want to partner and if you have any other, somebody who can contribute to the talk, yeah, it can be a joint talk for sure.
I will introduce you to the person that would be very interested to contribute to the warpage portion and the thermal portion, and then you two can talk to each other, and
sure.
That would be excellent. If you know if you remember in the HRR, I forgot whether it's chapter 8 or chapter 6, there's a thermal and there's a voltage, so they all come together.
Sure. And Bobby, put Yin name rather than my name because
Oh, yes.
she'll be the
Okay.
one.
Yeah, we'll be together. Yeah.
Hey,
YN.
question for you guys. Isn't thermal mechanical modeling and all that more kind of under advanced packaging and substrate analysis more than this? That's a question.
So that depends, Myron, what that thermal modeling is addressing. The intent here is if we are when we are moving from monolithic die to advanced packaging and all the way to the chiplet packaging, how's your thermal mass or thermal density of the package is changing. So that's the intent of this thermal modeling. But in general, advanced packaging covers wide variety of things.
Okay, so yeah, it's packaging. Good. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'd say as opposed to having a conversation on how you do it, it's more of discussing the perception that this is a large barrier to adoption of chiplets. So if people can just say, hey, there's ways to mitigate this and strategies to employ that allow this to be more doable and usable, then it lowers that perceived barrier more so than heavily technical on the analysis itself.
For the mechanical stuff, the warpage stuff, you can actually get somebody from AMD because in their newest stacking, where they put the L3 cache on top of their processor, and then they had to put 2 pieces of silicon on either side, specifically to prevent warpage. That would be cool to get somebody from AMD, but not that I know anyone, but just throwing that out there.
Bill's your guy. Okay. So then with AM.
In the list of companies that does a lightning talk, would you help to put HR back in there, please?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
So NVIDIA, Gary. Oh, so the lightning talks, we don't like them, or maybe that's the wrong phrase. Generally, it's not been productive to make them advertisements, but they're a great way to sort of introduce a company to the OCP, to the ODSA technical group. So if we've used even less small and large, this has been a good platform for a company to sort of say, this is our interest in chiplets, and this is how we want to work with the ODSA. So anybody interested, please sign up. Anybody else? Any topic? I'm looking at this list that we had last time. So Elko said ASC, he's not on. Bill, should I pencil Elko in, assuming he can make it?
I'm sorry?
Should I, the previous time? Oh, TSMC. Anybody have anything, anybody from TSMC who can sort of come in?
I will give you the name of the TSMC person who sat on the same panel as you are.
Okay.
You remember the person at the panel?
Yep.
And I will write him to do the introduction, and you can invite him.
Okay. Okay. I would love to make it an actual talk about TSMC's roadmap and interests and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Then we're looking at, Giri just spoke about NVIDIA. Anu, anything about microchip? Asking, not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not signing up right now, but
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? That's it. Okay. David isn't here. I'm assuming we will have a CDX slot of some kind. Okay, that was it. But if we've got people with names signed up. If you have anything else, please reach me offline. But I would really like a name with Shahab, if you're thinking of hire again, just send let me know, and I'll pencil you into this sheet. I just want to keep track of who's doing what.
Sure, I talked to them. You can add.
Okay. Okay. All right. In that case, I think this is where I wanted to be roughly today. Let me see. Then the last one I wanted the group's help on, which is, okay, I'll take 2 minutes. We really come to a fork in the road as far as the link layer effort is concerned. I think we're at a point where as a group, we've identified the requirements for a link layer, and we're trying to figure out whether to make the leap. This is the right time to make the leap to writing a full-blown spec, especially focus on interoperability. So if your company has any interest in this, I'm going to ping a bunch of people who I think might be interested. And if your company has any interest in the space to join next week's link layer meeting, where we're going to discuss an outline of the potential outline for the potential spec and see whether you could sign up to some portion of it. But I think we're ready to make the transition, and we're trying to gauge the interest level and the breadth of contributors we can expect for this. And
Do you know when is going to be the meetings for it? I mean, which day?
The link layer meeting's on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. About 15 minutes behind, but I think I'm done. And anybody have any opens? Let me just do a quick roll call. Michael.
Oh,
Michael Ravi.
not from today.
Okay. Anu Taufik.
No open on my side.
Thomas Myron.
Nothing on site.
Shahab Ali.
Nothing, thank you.
I have a quick, just something real quick. Yeah, I just want to say it's been good working with all of you people. I'm going to be moving out of the semiconductor industry. Actually, I have a new job starting Monday. So I just want to say it's been really fun and really interesting. You know, it's quite an inspiring vision. So I think it's really impressive, Boppy, especially what you've done, you know, kind of just like, you know, moving this forward on your shoulders for a long time and building the community and then everybody, you know, there's a lot of brain power and a lot of, you know, interest, and I love the discussions and fractals and everything. So this has been really fun. You know, I'll probably join in once in a while just to see what's going on, but I'm going in different directions. So yeah, thanks.
Well, good luck, Ali.
Thanks.
Hey, Ali, thank you for all your support in past year working on ODSA stuff, and wish you all the best on your new venture. And this community is not too far, so you can always reach out and say hello to any of us anytime.
I will. Thanks.
And I want to also say thank you, Ali, for all the contribution. And I think you've been instrumental for the last year and a half. And again, as DJ said, we are around. So whenever you are settled, give us a call.
I will. Thanks.
Yeah, seconded, Ali. Thank you. It was really nice to have you propelling us in the middle. It helped to the transition to the business work group. So thanks.
Well, I remember I actually gave a talk, was it the first workshop, just a quick one about power and kind of, you know, the product engineering side of it, right? And kind of get that started. So if you're curious, I'll be going to Enphase Energy. I'll be doing product management there. So I'll be going to the alternate energy space, power electronics.
Oh, nice. Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
Quinn, Javi?
Nope.
Yeah, nothing more on my end.
Mudassir? Bill?
I don't have any more.
Scott, Giri?
Nothing. Thanks.
Nothing here. Thanks.
DJ, Sri Ganesh?
Nothing on my side.
Nothing, Bobby. Thanks.
All right. Well, everybody, 10 minutes to your next meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Bapi.
Have a good
All right.
weekend.
Bye bye.
Thanks.